Try closing your eyes for a few seconds and feel what you see. A thick, suffocating darkness, like you're sinking into an abyss with no way out, right? For you, this is just a brief moment of darkness. But for thousands of unhoused people living at the bottom of society in Nevada, this is exactly the harsh reality they experience every day. No light, no hope, no future. All that remains is darkness, quietly consuming every forgotten life, right beneath the feet of the casinos shimmering in neon lights. Nevada, once hailed as the entertainment capital of the world, has gradually become one of the states with the highest rates of homelessness in the United States. And those who find themselves homeless are none other than the elderly, veterans, and even those who once had stable jobs, who once lived normal lives. All of them were once a part of the American dream, but now they huddle under bridges, in makeshift camps, or burrow deep into narrow sewers where even the police hesitate to tread. In today's video, we will bravely step into the dark side of the most sinful state in America that no one dares to promote. A Nevada of stories hidden beneath billion-dollar casinos and of invisible souls drowning in a crisis with nowhere to return. If you think you still believe in the American dream in Nevada, please be patient and watch until the end of this video. Because the hidden corners happening in Nevada today could very well be a mirror reflecting the future of the other states. There was a time when an entire generation believed that Nevada was a place where opportunities were always wide open, no matter where you came from. In the 70s, 80s, and even into the early 2000s, people flocked here to start anew, to escape the high housing prices in California, to find a peaceful place where a worker's salary could support their children through college, and where old age could pass in tranquility. For many people, Nevada is the embodiment of the American dream, simple yet complete. However, today, if you return, you might not recognize the place once called the Promised Land. The once bustling streets are now filled with the shadows of the homeless, those without a place to call home, left behind the brightly lit skyscrapers. The high cost of housing, once a familiar concern in New York or California, has now spread all the way to Nevada, making this state one of the places with the highest rate of unaffordable housing in the United States. A roof over one's head, something that once seemed the simplest way to start a life, has now become a luxury dream in this state, even for the once sturdy middle class. And when a roof over one's head is no longer a support, the wave of homelessness inevitably crashes down as an unavoidable consequence. According to the latest report, the number of homeless people nationwide has increased by 18% in just 1 year, and Nevada is no exception. Statistics show that there are over 10,000 homeless individuals recorded across the state, a number that could be much higher if we account for those hidden in cars, tents, or remote rural areas that are underreported. What is heartbreaking is the stark contrast. When you drive through the main boulevard in Las Vegas or downtown Reno, you will see LED billboards advertising million-dollar shows, Michelin-starred restaurants, or luxury resorts. But just turn onto a small hidden street behind, where the dazzling lights cannot reach, and you will see a completely different world. Tents huddled under the bridge, elderly people curled up on the sidewalk with shopping carts containing all their possessions, and the empty eyes devoid of hope of the street children. There is something very wrong when a state can rake in tens of billions of dollars each year from tourism and the casino industry, yet cannot provide safe housing for those who have spent their entire lives building it. When the bright lights of the entertainment centers are only enough to illuminate the luxurious skyscrapers for tourists to see, while the darkness gradually engulfs the entire lives of the poor huddled in the corners of the streets. The American dream, once built on the foundations of fairness and opportunity, is now becoming more fragile than ever, right in the very land that was once its symbol. Nevada, a state once considered the desert paradise, the ideal retirement destination where honest workers found safety, is now sinking into a darkness that few dare to acknowledge. And if a state that was once a refuge for retirees, workers, and even the vulnerable can no longer provide them with a roof over their heads, then is there anywhere in this country that is truly safe for the rest of us? Las Vegas, the dazzling diamond in the desert state of Nevada, where more than 30 million visitors come each year, where one can bet their entire fortune with just a roll of the dice. But perhaps the biggest gamble here doesn't take place in the casino, but on the very sidewalks, among the tattered tents, where those who once believed in the American dream are now betting their entire lives just to find a way to survive another night. From the highest floors of the five-star hotels, Las Vegas appears as a paradise of lights. But just look down a few blocks off the strip and you'll see another world. A row of makeshift tents stretching like a slum, tightly wrapping around the corner with the stench of garbage, urine, and despair. If we could stack those tents on top of each other, they might reach a height comparable to the Stratosphere Tower, the proud symbol of this city. According to the latest report, Las Vegas recorded 7,906 homeless individuals, an increase of over 20% in just 1 year, with more than 4,200 people having no shelter at all, forced to sleep outdoors in the harsh desert, with temperatures sometimes reaching 113 degrees Fahrenheit. There is an undeniable fact that homelessness is no longer an issue of strangers. They could be veterans, retired seniors, single mothers, or workers who once had homes and stable jobs. And even the middle class, once considered the solid pillar of America, is being pulled into the vortex of crisis. No one thinks they will end up living on the streets until it happens. And in Las Vegas, it happens every day. So what are we looking at? A Las Vegas sparkling at night, or a Las Vegas rotting from beneath? Even more frightening, right beneath the feet of those expensive casinos lies a dark world likened to a hell on earth. They call it Underground Vegas, a network of sewers stretching hundreds of miles. Initially, this system was built for stormwater drainage, and now it has inadvertently become a shelter for thousands of homeless people. They live like mole residents. No one mentions them in travel brochures or television shows about the sleepless beauty of Las Vegas. But they are still there, quietly living alongside you in the same city but deeply submerged in darkness, seemingly belonging to a completely different society.
I'm always wondering what time it is.
According to statistics, around 1,200 to 1,500 people are living in the underground tunnel system beneath Las Vegas. What was once just drainage pipes has now become the final refuge for forgotten people. They use broken bricks, cardboard boxes, and materials scavenged from the trash to build a small corner they call home. Some even hang old family photos on the cold concrete walls, as if to hold on to something human in the hellish life at the bottom of society. But this is not a life. It is a series of survival days. They have to face rats, insects, the smell of garbage, moldy air, and absolute isolation.
It's the worst thing in the world is being homeless.
For them, day and night no longer matter. The concept of space and time gradually blurs in the thick darkness. Each passing day is not a step forward, but a weary loop, quietly drawing them into a deep vortex with no way out. And when it rains, the water rushes in like a flood, sweeping everything away in just a few moments. There were people who brought their American dreams with them, only to be submerged and never return, right in their very last home. Even knowing the dangers, they still returned here. Because on the surface, in the picture of a developing Las Vegas, there is no longer a place for them. They didn't choose to live like this. But then housing prices skyrocketed. The waiting list for social housing stretched for years, and the inadequate welfare system couldn't support them after each fall. They don't expect anything too extravagant, just to not bother anyone, to continue living, and to have a place to return to. Could it be that those things that seem so simple and ordinary are gradually becoming luxuries beyond reach in the most expensive city in America? Las Vegas is not just a city, it is almost the entire face of Nevada. If Nevada were a birthday cake, Las Vegas would be the brightest candle. But even a wealthy city like Las Vegas allows thousands of people to live in the gutters. So what about other cities? And does the so-called American dream still exist? Or has it simply been buried deep underground, even though the struggling lives have to find a way to survive every day beneath where we walk every day? Do you remember the time when a house in Las Vegas cost around $25,000 and the average salary was about $8,210 per year? A typical working-class family could pay off their house in a few years, still have enough left over to save, send their kids to college, or drive down to the Grand Canyon every weekend. That was a time when stability was not a privilege, but a standard. Many people grew up with memories of hearty meals under a cozy roof. Back then, working hard truly meant a good life. A time when the American dream, seemingly simple, still retained its essence. But nowadays, everything has gradually reversed. Surviving in Nevada, especially in cities like Las Vegas or Reno, is no longer just a matter of trying. It's a daily struggle for survival. A decent life once built on the foundation of hard work, savings, and trust in the system has now become too expensive, even for the backbone classes who contributed to the very creation of this state. Housing rents in Nevada have increased by more than 40% in just 5 years, with the current average reaching $2,059 per month. For an elderly person living on a pension of about $1,800 per month, the answer to the budget equation has become very simple. There is no chance of maintaining an independent life, even at a minimal level. An old room, a nutritious meal, or a warm blanket in the winter. All have become luxuries in the daily struggle for survival. And it doesn't stop at just housing costs. Everything is becoming expensive, from gas, food, medicine, to utilities. Families here and across the state are spending an average of $1,196 more each month. This figure has forced those who once lived comfortably, with clear retirement plans, to have no choice but to live on the streets. Many people try to hold on by living in their cars until the cars are towed away. Or even more difficult is having to live in the hidden corners behind tall buildings, where concrete walls block the cold night winds. The choices that were once basic rights have now become a survival game, with increasingly harsh rules. Some community organizations like Meals on Wheels, AARP Foundation, or Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada are still trying to pull those struggling lives back from the brink with hot meals, counseling services, or emergency shelters. But they are also struggling in an uneven battle between the number of people needing help and the limited resources. Perhaps society has always subtly asserted that only lazy or unsuccessful people are homeless. But in Nevada today, that is no longer true. The truth is, you can work hard your whole life and still not have enough to afford living in this expensive state. And if even what was once considered the promised land, where everyone could live decently, has become too expensive, then what awaits the rest of America? On the chessboard of fate, not everyone gets to choose their own move. Some are born holding the queen, powerful, flexible, free to move forward and backward. But there are also those who are just pawns, moving slowly, pushed by circumstances, and easily removed from the game when they are no longer valuable. In Nevada today, thousands of people like those little pawns are stuck in the chess game of fate. They are veterans who once dedicated their youth to the country. They are the elderly who have spent their entire lives paying taxes and working tirelessly, hoping for a peaceful old age. They are single mothers bearing the burden of raising their children, saving every penny just to afford rent and buy milk each month. But then, a serious illness without insurance, a rent increase, a job disappearing without warning. And they fell off the board, silently plunging into an abyss with no way out. No one warned them that just a few months without a salary could mean losing everything. No one taught them how to survive after losing all faith in the system, when hard work is no longer a guarantee for a decent life. Now, they no longer live in houses, but temporarily shelter in old cars. No longer a cozy bed, just a thin mattress laid out on the cold concrete floor beneath the skyscrapers. No more proper meals, just a few old cookies received from the charity distribution center. What were once basic human rights have now become privileges that only a fortunate few can access. A few community organizations are still trying to save them from the abyss, from hot meals, emergency shelters, to a few hours of counseling and mental health care. But it's an uphill battle, because the number of people in need is increasing, while the budget, volunteers, and societal attention are decreasing. If a country cannot keep its promise to those who have sacrificed, who have worked their whole lives, who have raised the next generation, then what does the American dream mean to those who are trying to hold on here? Nevada, like many other states, was once an ideal destination for those dreaming of a fresh start, not only for Native Americans, but also for thousands of immigrants. But the irony is, when the system can no longer bear the weight, the massive wave of immigration inadvertently becomes the last straw. The local authorities, already overwhelmed, are struggling to cope. The funding allocated for the homeless, veterans, and the elderly now has to be further divided to accommodate the newcomers. Non-profit organizations are being stretched to the breaking point. Shelters are full, food is scarce, and volunteer doctors are quitting due to the immense pressure. This situation is not the fault of the immigrants. They're also victims of poverty and instability in their homeland. But the cost of lack of control and preparation is weighing heavily on the most vulnerable layers of America. In the darkness of the sewers or behind the skyscrapers, you will see not only the locals, but also immigrants huddled, waiting for each hot meal, each old blanket. The American dream, once a symbol of hope, has now become a fierce competition, where not everyone who arrives first gets to stay. And not everyone who stays can survive. Is there still enough room for all of us in the same dream that is gradually falling apart? When the neon lights dim and the bets are no longer as enticing as before, the first thing to disappear is not the tourists, but the trust of the businesses. In recent years, hundreds of small and medium-sized companies have withdrawn from Nevada. Among them are familiar discount supermarkets known to all Americans, such as Walmart, Dollar General, and Costco. Some quietly moved away in the night. Others leave behind empty buildings, abandoned shops, and silent industrial zones, like remnants of an economic dream left behind. So what is the reason behind the exodus of businesses? That is precisely the skyrocketing rental prices, the escalating crime rate, and the severe labor shortage. And especially the decline in spending within the community. When people can't even afford to live, who will still shop, eat out, or consume? A bakery owner who had been in Las Vegas for over 22 years shared before leaving. We can't pay $5,000 in rent each month when the number of customers keeps decreasing and most of them choose to leave. And it's not just small businesses. Even large corporations have started cutting branches, laying off employees, and redirecting investments to other states. The vision of a Las Vegas that is always vibrant and prosperous is being replaced by bleak financial reports and an increasing number of commercial buildings with for lease signs. The consequences do not stop at the economic aspect. When businesses pull out, jobs also disappear. When jobs are no longer available, housing becomes a luxury. And when the people no longer have a place to rely on, the cycle of poverty, homelessness, and social evils continues to tighten. If even the businesses, the vital links of the economy, are fleeing, then who still has the courage to stay? And if no one builds, no one invests, no one buys and sells, what will Nevada become? A tourist center, or a ghost town illuminated by faded, shimmering memories? When a storm sweeps through, it doesn't just take away roofs, it also leaves behind fragments of memories, emptiness, and scars invisible to the naked eye. The crisis in Nevada is the same. It not only causes people to lose their jobs and homes, but also makes them lose the most important thing: faith in society. On the streets that once sparkled with lights, now there are people quietly wandering like soulless shadows. Abandoned supermarkets. The schools are closed, and the parks are full of trash. It feels like Nevada has gone through an invisible pandemic. A pandemic of the homelessness crisis ready to sweep away all hope of the American dream. The community's psyche has also been deeply affected. People become suspicious of each other. Those who were once close neighbors now avoid each other's gaze for fear of seeing their own hardships reflected back at them. In the forgotten areas of Las Vegas, modern slums have sprung up as an inevitable consequence. Tents crowded together, walls covered in graffiti, the smell of mildew, the scent of dreams that have faded. And the heartbreaking thing is, no one really calls it a crisis anymore, because it has become a normal part of daily life. Like an earthquake that has passed, but the ground has not stopped shaking. The cracks are evident, not just on the road, but in the hearts of thousands of people who once believed they were living in paradise. So, after all, will Nevada rise again, or will it continue to slide down? Who will pick up these pieces? And more importantly, what will America learn from the remnants that remain? Nevada is no longer an exception. It is becoming a blurred yet honest mirror reflecting the future that America might be heading towards, if it doesn't wake up in time. When a state once called the entertainment capital of the world, which used to bring in billions of dollars each year from tourism, casinos, festivals, and conventions, can no longer protect the elderly, veterans, or single mothers from homelessness, then perhaps the problem lies not just in Nevada, but rather in a system that is fracturing on a national scale. What is happening here is a microcosm of a changing America, where the value of labor is eroding, where social safety nets are no longer safety nets but sinking lifebuoys, where the American dream, once full of promise, is now packed away in nostalgic memories and placed back on the shelf like an antique no longer of use. Each wrong decision, each neglect, each uncontrolled urbanization has created a new wave of poverty. A simmering wave, not too loud, but strong enough to sweep away the very things that once constituted the strength of this nation: trust, unity, and opportunity. If Nevada today is a wake-up call for all of America, then each of us needs to start with small but practical actions. Don't see the homeless as invisible. A kind look or a simple greeting is enough for them to feel acknowledged. Support local organizations with your time, donations, or simply by sharing information. Speak out about housing and welfare policies, because change doesn't happen without pressure from the community. And most importantly, don't forget that behind every statistic is a person, a story, just like you or your loved ones, only a little less fortunate. If we do not take action, what is happening in Nevada today could be the reality for the entire country tomorrow. If Nevada today is a draft for the future of America, if we don't act right now, we might not have much time left to revise that blueprint. Are you sure that what is happening in Las Vegas, Reno, or the Nevada deserts won't soon appear in the place where you live? Or one day, You, or your loved ones, might also become invisible victims of a wave that is gradually growing, which no one dares to name. Nevada, a state once symbolizing light, freedom, and vibrant dreams, is now shrouded in the darkness of poverty, injustice, and despair. We have gone through each piece, from the mole people living under the sewers to the storm of living costs sweeping away all stable foundations. From veterans, the elderly, and single mothers abandoned in the desert, to the uncontrolled wave of immigration straining already depleted resources. Businesses are pulling out, community support is weakening, while the government turns a blind eye. And what remains? Just the remnants of a dream that once felt very real. But Nevada is not just a standalone story. It is a wake-up call. It is a dark forecast for what might be waiting for other states. If we continue to ignore the lives falling freely in silence. Are we building a nation where living with kindness becomes a privilege rather than a given? And if tomorrow the place you live becomes the next Nevada, would you be ready to take action to change the situation? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. This video is made for the purpose of analysis, exploration, and sparking community thought, based on public data, official sources, and true accounts. We do not represent any political organization or government agency, and we do not intend to incite, distort, or mislead. All content in the video aims to raise social awareness and open up a space for discussion, and does not replace legal advice or official data sources, or official